what she saw. She loved me so good, she made her daddy mad. But my woman cried, she's dead to me now. My woman ran off, and I can't deny it. My life, Jesus and tequila.
My name's Steven. A lot of people call me Sowley by my last name, and it's pronounced Sowley, not Sowley. I'm going to take this opportunity to state that. Go on the record. I play in a band called Fake Limbs, and I write about swimming pools, and I make drinks every now and then. Sometimes I play records. Oh, I have a radio show too. I have a radio show on the internet called Cold Storage. I chose Double Nickles on the Time by the Minutemen.
I can't deny it.
John Herndon did that. Did both of them, actually. He came up with two, and I wanted only one, but then he did this Paranoid Time one that I loved. And I was like, well, I can't not have it. My dad is a bartender, and he worked at a college town, so he always had tapes behind the bar. This is days of like cassette culture and shit. So he had like a lot of college radio stuff, and from like students coming in and being like, "Oh, you should play this at your bar," you know, and he was one of the first dudes to like turn me on to some punk shit. Like, my dad had a tape, and on one side it was Big Head Todd and the Monsters, and the other side was, that's all it said on that side was Big Head Todd and the Monsters. So I don't know what album. I never listened to that side, because the other side had Minutemen, Double Nickles on the Dime, and this is like a double album, so you can't fit the whole thing on a 45-minute. I heard that tape when I was 15, and it wasn't until like maybe 16 or 17 that I was able to find an actual copy of this record. And I had it on CD. Cortland Green talks about like having every record on every format, and like this is definitely one of those records. Like I think coming to it at such a young age, and really like not fully invested in what was coming towards me live in Plattsburgh. Like the music scene in Plattsburgh growing up was pretty much like Fish, because Plattsburgh's located across the lake from Burlington, Vermont. So there was Fish, and then there was like New York State hardcore and punk that was coming up via Long Island, because it was a SUNY school, so most of the kids were from downstate, and so like everybody has connection, friendship, you work your way, you build your own network. The punk and hardcore that was coming through at the time was very aggressive, very masculine, and like very just like I think the intention was to hurt somebody. And like, so to hear this record and be like, oh wait, this is a punk band. And there's so many, like, there wasn't, to me at least, nothing like this. To be so angular and awkward, and all these songs, like, these songs are about what's happening at the time, but, and history, but they aren't specific. It's not like a Bill Hicks routine where you're like, oh yeah, George Bush really sucks. Like, the lyrics are very timeless, and they're applicable to many parts of the world, and they're about dreams and living, and it means so much to me in that sense that like it made it possible that punk rock could be this thing that's like, that is your own world, and you create it in the profound, like you make it for yourself. And that was so profound to me that it was like, oh, it doesn't have to just be like this fucking D beat that goes on and on. That it could be strange and jazzy and funky and have these acoustic songs with no lyrics, just this beautiful guitar playing. And yet, that's punk. It wasn't contemporary at the time that I discovered it, but it meant just as much to me at that time at 15, so that's what, 92? This record came out in 84, so it's 8 years. There's 2 presidencies in that time. 2 terms of presidency.
You represent Clinton-era Minutemen fans.
Yes, yeah. So, a record like this meant that I could go somewhere else, wherever I wanted to with it. Like, that I could just be like, it made it possible. It made sense to me that, like, there was a direct line between something like a Meters record and a Black Flag record, or getting more and more into jazz. My dad was a big jazz dude, so I'd always hear jazz records, but I didn't always like actively listen to them. This is like to me it always felt like this giant blanket that you could go anywhere with it. It did mean so much to me at that time. And I think when you're coming of an age of like getting into like trying to find whatever it is that you identify as, and I don't think anybody does at 15. You try on different outfits, and then until you get to the thing that you're really comfortable in. So yeah, it wasn't contemporary, but I really I cherished it so much at the time. Like, I feel like the way that I've gotten through my life is being able to find friends and talk to them about what inspires us and what changes us, and like being able to talk about bands, and even if how do you get through your stupid and horrible life without really good friendships? And like, you need things to move you, you need things to help you get through it. And like, I don't know, man, close friends and punk rock really got me through this shit. And I think like this is like the perfect band where it's like they were just dudes that were alone and cared about each other, and we're just gonna do this thing. It's that shit that just exists in a vacuum. This album speaks to me on that level as well, where it's just like this whole band was about friendship in a very democratic fashion, like as well, which is so adorable. Like the way the album's engineered. You know, a lot of SST records, they don't sound that good. But like, like there's some Husker Du records that need remastering in a big fucking way. So this album is very, like you can clearly hear the bass lines, and the guitar line is like the bass is low and kind of groovy, and the guitar is very, very tinny and sharp, very cutting, and then you have this crazy ass drum work going on behind you. And a lot of people don't talk about George Hurley the way they should. But, because he was just as integral to this band as Dee and Mike were. And he wrote songs, but like his playing is so fascinating to me. And that he's so very matter of fact with it, where he's like, I just didn't want to do the same thing anybody else did. And how beautiful is that? Like, you know, it's so, like they're such a mysterious band in this way. You know, if you just go on it of like, oh, it's these dudes, and they aren't like the most attractive band. They're not like, I mean, D Boon was a big dude, so like being a big dude was really inspiring to me to just be able to like have the freedom to be in a band and not have to worry about like I don't look right on stage or some shit like that, or being very self-conscious about it, like being able to be like, there's this big dude that's fucking flying over, like just jumping really high and having crazy movement and playing the guitar, like, yeah, okay, like, all right, so like I don't look like Mick Jagger or Madonna or whomever, and I can like still be out there and do my thing and feel really comfortable with it. Really inspiring if you are not attractive and want to be a front person in a band. I don't know. I love punk rock and I love friendship, and I love that. I can just kind of like apply the ideology and create my own world out of it. And that's what this record meant to me, and that's why this band as a whole means so much to me. It's like, oh yeah, you can just do whatever you want, as long as like don't behave like an asshole and treat people the way you want to be treated, and you can just create your own world from there. History lesson part 3. Man, oh man, like, that song is just going back to the Tongue of Friendship, it's a whole statement on the history of how that band came to be. Me and Mike Watt writing these songs. It's so beautiful.
Our band could be your life.
Yeah, our band could be your life. Real names be the truth. Like, what a beautiful and inspiring thing to latch on to when coming at such an age, to be like, oh yeah, like, totally. Number 1 hit song. When my partner and I got hitched, we had a little party, and the only person who spoke at the wedding ceremony, wedding, fuck it, whatever, who cares? It was our thing. The only person who spoke at the ceremony was Cortland Green, and all he did was recite the lyrics to number 1 hit song, which, on the back of a winged horse, there is a sky, pearly gray, love is leaf-like, you and me, baby. Twinkle, twinkle, blah, 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 E.T.C. And couldn't think of a better way to, like, that's the only thing that should be said at our ceremony. My partner and I watched this movie when we first started dating, and we're both, I think we were both like crying in the first 10 minutes. Like Jess, how I met Jess was via, like, through the scene of punks and people and friends in our lives, and that's what, like, the love for this band meant so much to us in, like, forming our relationship and forming trust and love for people based on shit like this. You have to have, like, a shared interest, You build out of that, and then you create this whole other thing here.
We learned punk rock in Hollywood. Drove up from Pedro.
And that's what it really is, man. It's just beautiful friendships. You're in my house, and there's so much stuff that I have from friends here. And that means that's part of my world. And I think falling in love with a band like this and this record really was formulaic and making me formulaic, not formulaic. It was influential in how I viewed the world. Oh my God. What time's lunch?
Tequila. time, and I can't deny it.
Like,
Sort of a Barbara Walters question.
usually my laugh at the end means I'm done talking.